Jen Aranyi is a contemporary watercolor nature artist, and she was influenced by the nature around her. She includes bright watercolored skies contrasting against her black and white land. Sometimes she includes constellations in her majestic skies. She works as a full-time graphic designer, and on the side she sells her art on Etsy. All right, let's start our landscape. We are going to place our tracer on our paper, hold it in place, run your pencil right next to the oak tag tracer, making sure it doesn't move. Mine moved, that's okay. I can go ahead and just redraw that part and erase. All right, now we're ready to do our landscape. We are going to start with a zigzag line going across our paper. This is going to be our mountains. We're going to draw it lightly, and we want to make some mountain peaks taller, some shorter. All right, now we're going to paint our sky. We're going to use either warm colors, our red, orange, or yellow, or cool colors, which would be our green, blue, and purple. There's also some choices on this side too, but our warm ones, let's just write those down, would be red, yellow, orange, cool, purple, green, and blue. And you can use a variety of the blues or greens. We're going to get our brush wet. These are watercolors, so we need to have a wet brush to use these. I think I'm going to do the cool colors, so I'll start with this blue, very gently swirling it around. We'll go right along the edge of our mountain. If you need to reload your brush, get it wet and add more paint. Now we can go ahead and just paint parts of the paper. I'm just going up and down because I'm going to add in some more colors to have them help touch. The more paint I add, the darker it will be. If I add more water, it will be lighter. So I'm going to clean my brush. Maybe I'll come in and pick up some of this dark blue. And I want to go right next door to the first one. I can go outside this circle because I will be cutting this out. So when I go next door to the blue, they will bleed together. Do you see? Especially right there. If it's really wet, it'll have a real nice bleed. And I'm moving around my painting. Try not to get too much puddling, because when you take it to the drying rack, it might drip. Now maybe I'll clean my brush and pick up some of this darker green. I like this, how we have some value here. The darker green goes into the lighter. That adds interest. So try to accomplish some of that. This is a little bit of a not a soft transition. It was that pretty straight line. So I'm just gonna blend a little bit so you don't notice that as much. And here's my example of my warm color sky. Once these are dry, we're going to go ahead and outline with our Sharpie marker. Taking your time. Now we're going to create a shadow on one side of the mountain. We're going to start at the peak and do a zigzag line. And then we're going to add some texture with some diagonal lines. You don't have to fill the whole space. It helps to turn your paper. This is a really long one, so maybe I do a little bit on this side and then come up to my other line. Now we're going to create a horizon line. That's where the earth and the sky meet. We're going to be going across our page like a little zigzag. So start, come across to the other side. If you go off the page, no problem. We can even add a little more texture in our mountains. Now we're going to add trees. Anything that is in the background, which means closer to the mountains, will be small. Foreground, which means closer to the bottom of our page, will be large. So if we're going to add some little trees back here, we'll do a little line. And our tree is going to be like a cone shape. So keep that in mind when you're making your trees. Maybe I have two together. So these are all in our background. Nice small trees. Now moving up to this line, I will do a couple vertical lines. These are going to be bigger trees. And then notice our tree gets wider at the base. Now the foreground, this line here, will have a larger tree, so I'll make sure that's bigger. I'm thinking, do I want to add one more here or not? I think if I add one here, I could lose that tree and that might be fine. Or I could just make it a little bit shorter coming down. Let's give it a try and see what happens. Perfect. Now we can go ahead and add some constellations with our Q-tip. Just using the tip and dotting it on my background. If you want to make some shooting stars, dot and drag. You really have to hold it and then flick it. Last step, once this is all done, we can go ahead and cut out our landscape on that circle line that we have. And there we have our Jennifer Aranyi landscape.